What's going on, everybody? It's Elusive, and today I was going to do a Halo game tier list. Halo is definitely my favorite franchise of all time. Video game-wise, Combat Evolved was the first video game I ever played, and I just decided that that's what I'd start out with for my tier list, because I plan on doing a bunch of tier lists, but Halo is definitely going to be the first one up. So I already have Halo Infinite in the... I put it in the tier list because I don't know. It looks like it'll be good, but obviously we have yet to see. I have high hopes for it, but I'm also a little worried because with 4 and 5, we'll get to that later, but the S tier, the easiest one by far is going to be the Halo Combat Evolved. So we're going to start off with Halo Combat Evolved, and that's obviously S tier immediately. We're going to put that right in the S tier right away. There's no question about it. It was the first Halo game. It started everything. It has hella nostalgia behind it, so that's automatically an S tier for me. I mean, I could really go on and on. I see a lot of tier lists before, or other people in comments and polls and sections like that saying that it's not S tier for them, or like Halo Reach is better. And don't get me wrong, I love Halo Reach, but like... Combat Evolved by far was just the best in my opinion. The pacing was amazing. The graphics at the time were amazing. I'll never forget running into the Flood for this first time. You start off fighting aliens and stuff, something pretty run-of-the-mill for sci-fi. And then halfway through the game, you get like kind of a survival horror type aspect. And then the amazing, you start the journey on the Pillar of Autumn, crash land on the Halo ring, and then you go through all that, like 12 levels, hours of gameplay, and then you get to the end, the last level. And the last level, the title for it is called The Maw, but the subtitle is "And the Horse You Rode In On." And I just think that was a perfect way to end it, because you came in to that strange world and went through all this super long journey on this ring. You go through all of this. You finally get back to the ship that you came in on, and you use the ship on to blow up the entire ring, destroy the ring, wipe out the Flood completely, so that way the universe is safe. And not to mention an entire Covenant fleet absolutely obliterated too, that landed on the ring to try and stop you. So hands down, by far, Combat Evolved is definitely my favorite. So many things they did really amazingly well there. A lot of nostalgia. Next, I would put also S tier is Halo 3 for sure. Halo 3 I've also put as S tier because it had a really good campaign. Definitely a better campaign than 2 in my opinion. Halo 3 by far, it felt more akin to Halo Combat Evolved. The storyline was amazing. Halo 3 is when you start learning about mendicant bias and the Forerunner Flood War and all that stuff. A lot of super deep lore. I didn't even realize that for a while, but the Flood were in there, which was pretty cool. I liked that. Story was pretty good. Wasn't too bad. The ending was alright. It was definitely way up there, but mainly for the multiplayer, because the multiplayer, Halo 3 is when I first started playing the multiplayer, and the multiplayer for Halo 3 was amazing. It was one of my favorite multiplayers by far. I think it still is, to be honest. Really solid, really good mechanics. The assault rifle actually worked. It's not useless like it is now. No armor abilities, which is what I liked. My favorite thing about Halo was definitely how everybody started out on like completely even footing. You know, there's no classes and stuff like that. Everybody has an assault rifle and a pistol. And if you want something better, you have to go run and grab it. So for A tier, I would definitely do Halo 2. Halo 2, that also has a lot of nostalgia and memory to it. It definitely wasn't as solid as Combat Evolved or 3. Didn't have as good as a story, in my opinion. It focused a lot on the Arbiter, which wasn't too bad. I mean, it was only about, I think, a little less than half, but, you know, I'm just not a big fan of the Covenant. Just don't really like them that much. Don't like playing as them. Never played them as as them in Reach or any games where you could play elites. Definitely always prefer the Spartans by far, and that always docked at some points for me. But it was the first time dual wielding was introduced, which was pretty cool. Trying to think much. I do like it enough to give it an A tier, but that's mostly because nostalgia, I think. I wasn't a big fan of the story or the gameplay. Yeah, it's not too bad. Dual wielding was introduced. The campaign was pretty good. The story was pretty good. Still following the same storyline of, Covenant and the Flood. Not too bad. Just overall pretty unmemorable, I guess. I don't even really remember much of the missions from it. It has been probably like 6-8 years since I played it, but just wasn't that great in my opinion. I definitely liked some other games better. I just have it up that high because nostalgia, so I'm biased in that way, I guess. Also A tier is Halo Reach. Now Halo Reach was really, I was a huge fan, just like Halo 3. I forgot to mention that 3 is the customization, and Halo Reach had way more customization than every Halo game before. It had way more customization, and that was always one of the coolest parts. That's the part I did like about Halo 3 better, was you got achievements. You had to unlock armor. If you wanted a certain armor set, you had to beat the game on Legendary, or if you wanted the katana, you had to get all the achievements in the game. In Halo Reach, it was kind of like you just play games and complete challenges and you get credits, and that credits gives you money to buy armor. But it was still super cool. Armor abilities were introduced, and I did love those a lot. I always used the jetpack. That was one of my favorite things ever. They introduced these armor abilities, and it's a complete change up to the pace of the game. But when the game came out, it was really refreshing and really cool. I was really good at that game too, so I liked it a lot. I mean, I was pretty much good at every Halo game up until 5. Something happened in 5, and I just became absolute trash in 5. I don't know what it was. I don't want to talk about it. But yeah, definitely really good story too. Halo Reach had an amazing story, but it's the story of Noble Team, and it's the retelling of each of the Spartans' lives and where they gave their life, to protect Reach, or at least try and protect Reach, and then protect Earth, really, I guess, was the main goal. But yeah, a really amazing story. All the characters' death scenes are amazing. I mean, Halo Reach has been out, 12 years now? But if you haven't played it, definitely a spoiler warning. Maybe that warning was a little bit too late, but all the death scenes were pretty dope, except for, I'd say, Cats. Cats was pretty lame. Just running by and just gets headshotted out of nowhere. There was no sacrifice at all. I guess it's more, I don't know, realistic, because not everybody's gonna go out as a hero. She kind of just got wiped off the face of the earth for nothing. But yeah, all the other death scenes were pretty cool, especially Noble Six's, because they give you that, they tell you to get on the ship, and you're basically like, nah, I got the gun, I'll make sure you guys get out of here. And then the last mission of the game is surviving as long as you can, which I thought was pretty dope. Really good game. Definitely the game that changed the pace for the rest of the Halos to come by far. It was a really outstanding game, though. Also in A tier, I would definitely put ODST. And a lot of people don't like ODST, surprisingly. I'm not sure why. I thought it was cool. It's kind of similar to Reach in the way of that it goes through the story of a squad. You play as the rookie. It was really cool because I always liked ODSTs a lot. I like Spartans, obviously, but I like ODSTs a lot too, because they look pretty dope, to be honest. But I thought it was cool to be a Marine for once. You're not on a power trip with power weapons just stomping out aliens. You're actually playing smart, like sneaking through New Mombasa at night, trying to figure out what happened to your squad, like finding clues and stuff like that, like the broken sniper rifle and stuff. And it was overall just a totally different experience, I thought. It was a really good experience. So I definitely have to throw it up there at A. Really good change of pace, going from, a super soldier to a regular Marine, or a regular ODST, figuring out what happened and everything. Definitely a little more strategy involved, because you weren't as overpowered. Especially if you're playing on Legendary, you really had to play it safe. I think the firefight mode wasn't that great. Reach definitely did it better. So let's see, B class. I put where's it at? Halo Wars. Original Halo Wars slapped, in my opinion. That game was super dope. I loved original Halo Wars a lot. I mean, that was a huge change of pace. Forget Halo Reach adding armor abilities and stuff. This was like a whole new game, kind of like Tactics, like XCOM, above you, looking down, base building. The one thing I was disappointed about, for sure, was on the cover and in the trailers of Halo Wars, there was like 100 Spartans. Like, you had I remember in the original Halo Wars OG trailer, they bring in reinforcements and you just pan out. There's a whole row of Covenant and Elites, and then you pan out. There's a whole row of Spartans with like airships in the back. And then when you get to the actual game, you can only have 3 Spartans at a time. I was like, really? That was kind of annoying. They're kind of overpowered because they can hijack vehicles and stuff like that. And you can upgrade them to have Spartan lasers, but I definitely have it up at B because it was a refreshing change of pace as well. And it was like, it was pretty awesome, to be honest, getting to fight the Covenant and stuff, upgrading and doing researches and stuff, making your Spartans stronger and better, and your Marines as well. I liked it a lot as a kid. Like, back when that game came out, I probably would have put it at an S tier, but now looking back on it, it's still cool, but it's definitely not as good as I thought it was back then. So C tier is definitely going to be Halo 4. I don't even know where to start with Halo 4. There was a lot of disappointing stuff with it, and I really absolutely hated it when it first came out. Like, when it first came out, I would have put it at, like, complete trash, not even made the tier list because how bad it was. But then looking back on it in hindsight, it wasn't really as bad as I thought, to be honest. I'm not really sure why I disliked it so much to begin with. It was a deviation from the main storyline, but it all kind of did get wrapped up in 3, so they really had to go a new direction with it. Cortana going rampant, obviously. I wasn't a big fan of at the time, but now I am, because I obviously liked Cortana, and I want her to be around forever, basically. But now looking back on it, it's like, obviously that's a route they would go with, especially when she was with the Grave Mind in Halo 3, so, could have been infected with the Logic Plague, which would be cool if that's how it was and that's what happened in Infinite. But yeah, it's really not too bad, to be honest. Wasn't a big fan of the Master Chief's new armor, to be honest. It looked alright, but I definitely like the older school armor better, which is what I'm excited for it to come back in Infinite. But I really don't have a whole lot to say about it. It was decent. Don't like fighting the Forerunners at all. Prometheans suck. There's nothing satisfying about beating them. You just shoot them and then they disintegrate. Not a big fan at all. Very bad enemies. And I know they probably would have went with the Prometheans anyways, but I know they definitely cut the violence in the games back a lot so that way they could get more money from kids playing, basically. But very unsatisfying enemies to fight, and you fight so much of them. I was ready for them to be gone for good. That's my biggest complaint about that game, is that I just wasn't a big fan. Very unsatisfying to beat. So, decent story, kind of saves it. I'll put it up as a C for sure. D tier, Halo Wars 2, absolutely. Not a big fan of Halo Wars 2. I don't even think I beat the campaign because it just got so boring so quick. It was, maybe I shouldn't put it on the tier list because I never beat it. So maybe that's unfair to do, but it lost my interest really quick. And video games are pretty much the only thing that holds my attention. Like, if I try and do anything else, like if I'm not interacting with something, I basically just lose it. So, like watching movies and TV shows and stuff like that, there's no interaction there happening besides watching it, so I can't really do it. I can't really stay focused that long. But video games are like the exception to that for me. But Halo 2, I couldn't do it. I don't even remember really what was wrong. Maybe just, I don't know. I probably shouldn't put it on the tier list, to be honest. I just know I'll put it on the tier list. Just the fact that I couldn't play it, a Halo game, I couldn't beat it. I'm sure it still had some redeeming mechanics because it is just like Halo Wars, but I'll just leave it at the D tier because that's the only Halo game I've never played and was never able to beat because how boring it was. D is Master Chief Collection. That's not it. Is Master Chief Collection. I mean, it's just every game put into one. I have all the discs for all the other ones, so I guess that it does allow you to play Halo and Halo 2, but I still put it as a D just because it's just all the games over again. There's nothing new, nothing different, just more achievements. And something that made me mad was I beat every single Halo game besides Halo Wars 2, obviously, on Legendary lassoed in the games that offered lasso, and none of the achievements are there. I go to the Halo Combat or Master Chief Collection service record or like combat report card, and it says I haven't beat any of the games, so it obviously resets because they want you to do it all again. I'm like, I'm not gonna do that all again. Forget that, man. So that's why I put it as D. I mean, it's still good, don't get me wrong, but it's just all the Halo games again. I don't know. That's just my personal opinion, though. Still solid. Still has all these great games in it. E, I would definitely put here. Let's do Spartan Strike first. Spartan Strike, just because the fact it's just like it's pretty much just a mobile game, really. I mean, you can get it on the Xbox, I'm pretty sure, but it's pretty repetitive. Gets kind of boring. The story's And obviously I don't expect a lot of it because it's just a mobile game. It's just meant to, goof around with while you're like going to work or something on a bus or on the subway. So it's not bad. I can't complain too much about it. It's just not interesting to me. But then again, most mobile games aren't interesting to me. The only mobile game I can really play is Dokkan. But Dokkan's way more complicated. This is just kind of like, run around, grab things, and shoot. Not too bad. Not too much to say either, to be honest. But also at E tier, I would put Halo 5. And Halo 5 is absolutely garbage. Like, I think a lot of people can agree with that. It's literally terrible in almost every way. I had a problem I didn't mention about 4's multiplayer. I completely skipped over 4's multiplayer, but 4 and 5 share the same thing. The Spartan armors are absolutely hideous. Like, they're some of the ugliest things I ever seen. Way over designed, way over complicated. Obviously just thrown in garbage, to make it harder to get the good stuff, which I guess I understand, but they could at least made the armors look good. Like, some of these helmets shouldn't even exist. I don't even know how they got in the game. I doubt anybody even uses them. People wear them ironically, probably. But it's some of the worst designed armor I've ever seen in any game, hands down. Hands down, any game. Some of the ugliest, worst design armor, no contest. And don't even get me started on the campaign. The whole entire marketing scheme was a complete lie. Nothing in the marketing happened in the game. It's gone on about Hunt the Truth and stuff like that. You have the two cutscenes, the two different trailers where Locke defeated Chief and he's about to execute him, and then you have the other cutscene where Chief defeated Locke and he's about to execute him. And a couple of the other trailers paint Master Chief out to be like a bad guy, obviously. They're calling him a traitor and whatnot. He's running through the city. People are dying, getting crushed by buildings, and he's not stopping to help them. And, so they're calling him a traitor and all that stuff. And some of them are saying that he's dead. He gets wiped out by a building, which is a lame way to go. Like, he just falls over, a building falls on him and he dies. And it's like, yeah, Master Chief's dead because he went AWOL. Obviously, they're coming up with a story. But, yeah, none of that happened. And you play as Locke, which is my same problem with Halo 2. I don't like Locke at all. He's a very forced character. Didn't feel any type of, there's no connection whatsoever. It would have been different if it was Buck, because Buck became a Spartan and you play with Buck and ODST, so you get to know him. Or if maybe it was the rookie, that would have been dope. Rookie becomes a Spartan, so that way they didn't get rid of him, which was, don't even get me started on that. That would have been cool. Either Buck or Rookie, not Locke. Never even heard of this dude before. Completely irrelevant. Not interested in playing him at all. Didn't like anybody from Osiris at all. They were all very blanded, boring characters. Maybe that's just my bias. I don't like any of the new Spartans at all. 2s are my favorite. 3s they're up there, but they're not as, I don't like them as much as 2s basically. Besides that, the gameplay mechanics, not a big fan of. Everybody can sprint now. Everybody has thruster packs, and everybody can clamber. I do like the enhanced mobility, but it all feels pretty cheap and shallow, I guess. There's nothing really satisfying about it. But besides the entire marketing campaign being a complete lie, none of it happening whatsoever. Completely over-designed garbage armors. It's pretty much set up for you to buy it. So horrible microtransactions. Like they're trying so hard to get you to buy stuff because leveling up is so slow. Getting rec points is so slow. It takes 12 matches to get a gold rec pack, and 99% of the time it's 9 Warzone cards of vehicles or rare weapons and stuff, and it's 1 customization item, 1 cosmetic item. And for me, that's the biggest part of it for me is customization of the characters. I just realized Spartan Strike and Spartan Assault are different games. I don't think I've ever played this one. What is that? Spartan Strike and Spartan Assault? Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm going to take Spartan Assault out. But everything I said for Spartan Assault is for Spartan Strike. I didn't even know that existed. I've never played these bottom 3 games down here. And to be honest, I don't think I'm going to. They don't look interesting at all. They look pretty bad. And I'd rather not know they existed, to be honest. But yeah, that's pretty much it. It's not much more else to say. That's the whole tier list right there. I don't think that'll ever change. Halo Infinite looks good. I do have high hopes for it. The grapple shot, I was kind of not a big fan of at first, but it looks like it could be decent. I'm not a big fan of the personal AIs. It'd be cool. They kind of seem cool, but they seem like they could get annoying. So maybe there'll be an option to shut that off. But yeah, hopefully when Halo Infinite comes out, it slaps. I'll definitely be streaming that and uploading videos of it. But yeah, that's pretty much it for this video. Thanks everyone for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. If you don't like it, dislike it. Leave a comment below. Let me know what you think of my tier list. Do you guys agree? If you guys played the other 3 games, let me know if they're any good. Maybe I'll try them out. If you do like Halo Wars 2 and you think maybe it's just slow in the beginning and I need to get through and to get to a better part, just let me know. But other than that, I'll catch y'all next time. See ya.